Hi, it's Bianca Stump, your History 222 instructor. And like we did in Unit 1, I wanted to provide a quick video and screencast to walk you through the elements required to successfully complete our work for, I'm scrolling down, Week 3 and Unit 2, Chapters 19 through 21. You'll see, again, those student learning outcomes with that acronym SPRITE: social, political, religious, intellectual, and cultural, technical, and economic threads that we look at as we examine any era in American history. This week for Unit 2, you're tackling Chapter 19, The City and Its Workers, Chapter 20, Dissent, Depression, and War. This war being, of course, the Spanish-American War, the splendid little war that John Hay used to depict that 90-day conflict. And then Chapter 21, Progressivism, from the grassroots to the White House. This gives us presidents like Teddy Roosevelt and William Howard Taft, bathtub fame, and also Woodrow Wilson. Like in our previous Unit 1, Unit 2 has those reading and self-assessment questions. Questions that I think one of the best approaches is to read both beforehand to frame your reading and then to come back to at the end and see if you would feel comfortable answering those questions. You can either do that orally, you can do that in your own head, or you can commit those to writing, but they need not be turned in. That is just a self-assessment. Like before, you have videos from Annenberg. Some of them are repeats from last time if you didn't watch them, with the addition this time of T.R. and Wilson and a vital progressivism. And also, again, those crash courses, this time on growth, cities, and immigration. This unit really does a lot of shuns, if you will. Industrialization, urbanization, immigration. Then you see the one on American imperialism, taking us to places like Puerto Rico and Cuba and the Philippines. And then the progressive era. And then finally, those folks, those three gentlemen I just mentioned a few minutes ago, those progressive presidents. You'll see the online lectures. And for lecture point for this topic, you would be looking at the United States in 1900 if you didn't already in the previous unit. And also the fifth lecture in this part on the progressive movement. For Unit 2's common misconceptions and difficult topics, there are many, but I chose to highlight this question of a quote-unquote American melting pot and whether or not America really does have a tradition of open doors, or whether nativism and a level of prejudice and hostility on the part of native-borns to immigrants has characterized more of our American history than one might suspect. Also, this question of Roosevelt and the Spanish-American War, is it really John Hay's truly splendid little war, or was it perhaps something more sinister with more imperial ambitions that may or may not really be in conflict with what we view as American identity? Or is it something that in fact is reflective of what's best in America? Kind of a controversial question, and we may not all agree, but again, a misconception and a difficult topic for you to kind of wrestle with. And then finally, progressives, right? The notion of that is to think that there are policies that come out of the progressive era and the Roosevelts and the Tafts and the Wilsons, but was there a limit to how progressive they were? In this particular instance, I note race. In an era that gives us the NAACP and works like the souls of black folk, how do we reconcile that with the progressive, quote-unquote, Woodrow Wilson, who also segregated Washington, D.C., played Birth of a Nation in the White House, and as the first Southern president since the Civil War was, by certainly most measures and many historians view, racist. And then finally, after you look at all that preparatory material that guides your reading and understanding, it's time for your Unit 2 reading quiz, your Unit 2 discussion board, and your written assignment. I want to talk just a minute about the discussion board. It's a little bit different of a virtual discussion topic than you had with the Abraham Lincoln Emancipation Proclamation prompt. On whose burdens, I'm actually going to ask you to read 3 primary sources, and in this case they're poems: the white man's, the poor man's, and the black man's burden. And then after you read these 3 poems reflective of the era, you're going to create your own found poem on imperialism using keywords and phrases that stand out to you from each of the poems you just read. It's fine if you're not a poet. We're all going to take our best stab. Some of you might find a poetic voice, though, among you. And then after you post the poem that you've made using and expounding upon the found words in Kipling, McNeill, and Johnson's work, your second required post will be your reaction to a peer's imperialism poem. Those are awesome for me to grade, by the way, to hear your voice and to see your ideas about imperialism in a format that isn't always the sort of formal essay. Going back to content and assignments, I want to just briefly look at Unit 2's writing assignment. It's the first assignment that is going to require your use of SAS Curriculum Pathways, that interactive website and software. You will be asked to go to the website, log in with the username Campbell Student. That is a username every classmate uses. There's no password. You click log in. You might want to make sure you run the system check the website offers, that all your software is going to cooperate with the program, allow you to watch all the videos and see all the annotations and hear all the audio clips in the documents. And then after having reviewed the background videos, after having examined the 5 primary sources, your answer is to compose a Word document response to the question, should the government break up Standard Oil's monopoly? And in that paper, you make sure you support your point by using quotations that come from the actual text. All right, so that concludes my video with a preview of what you will be studying in Unit 2. And as always, I'm available with those questions and concerns that may arise. Best wishes, and on to Unit 2.